recommend. This doesn't make sense. And to use multiples of 4, you don't have to. I would just use 1 the whole time. So say yes. So now what's happening is it's measuring across this frequency range, and then it will get 20 points between 10 meg and 10 gigahertz.
But when did we tell it what frequency to do it?
It's set up automatically in the profile wizard to go.
Oh, so does it itself? Okay.
Yeah, so you can set up the number of points. You can set up the range as well. And I'll show you, after this is run, I'll show you where you can change those things in case you want to.
So these are the parameters it's finding out?
Yeah. So that's the frequency that's running in megahertz.
Oh,
the T1 value, the R1 value, which is just 1 over that, and then the error. And then there's an absolute error as well.
How come there's a signal for 0 frequency? How's that?
It's not 0.
It's not 0?
No. So it's 10, then 7, then 4, then 3.3, then 2.
Oh, it's 10?
Yeah. 1 times 6 to the 1.
Oh, yeah, okay.
10 times.
Oh, I didn't see the 1 there.
Yeah.
I was looking at 0.
How does it do it? Yeah.
So it goes from 10 megahertz to 1 megahertz.
It's going to go from, at the moment it's from 10 to 1, and then we set it up to do from 10, so the maximum range of the machine is 10 kilohertz to 10 megahertz, and it's going to do 20 logarithmically spaced points between 10 and 10 kilohertz.
Oh.
And then what you get is this, so that is that. And then you'll see this shift for different temperatures, and that's what these parameters.
And that's all we're doing?
Yeah.
So we've literally just done 1 sample already?
You've done 1 temperature of 1 sample.
Alright, so we've got to repeat for 40, 50, 60, 78, 60. What was it then? 30 to 90, alright. Okay, so if you do, if you just, and then we would need to plot that, or does it already plot it?
It plots in there, but then what you should do is take these, so this gets dumped out in the file, and then you can take that, load it into whatever, Origin, Excel, MATLAB, Python, and then plot them all up.
And it even works out the error for you, is it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Whether that's right or not. Yeah, so the error comes from the least mean squares fitting of that exponential curve.
So is that the correct error then?
I think it's reasonable for you to assume that it is. It's beyond the scope of the project, so.
Yeah.
Basically, no other samples look this good.
Just this one?
This is a really, no, these 4 look really good.
Oh, right.
But the other stuff like this does not look like that. It looks like shit.
So what is T1 actually telling us? What is T1?
T1 is the decay rate of these spins. So basically what's happening is that, so you stick these spins at higher energy state with a pulse, and then they lose momentum to the surroundings. They use spin momentum to the surroundings, and so they gradually decay to where their ground state is. And the constant of that decay, a bit like radioactive decay or whatever, is T1. That's it. And then T2 is the loss of spin to each other. So because they're all spinning together, they become out of phase with each other, and then because they're out of phase, they interact, and then because they interact, they slow down, and then they lose spin, and then they point back up again.
Because I read one of his research papers, and he started talking about entangled stuff, and
yeah. So
I just thought, no point me reading that.
I think it's good to know in sort of an abstract sense, but going into that is pretty heavy hitting. But basically, so when I've been explaining, these spins, these spins, and then they point up and stuff. The problem with these spins is they're attached to things. Yeah. So we're looking at protons, and they'll be attached to a bunch of different things. So if you have like polystyrene or something, you'll have ones attached to just carbon, you have ones attached to a ring of carbons, you have one attached to another carbon somewhere else, and then that is part of a chain that is then entangled, And so all of these protons experience very different topologies, and that will affect the rate at which they can relax back to.
So there's loads more parameters.
Yeah. So basically what you get from this is a kind of determination of what the timescale of the relaxation mechanism of the material is. So it gives you information about the material because the protons are part of the material.
So all we're actually doing is just applying a magnetic field and looking how the spin decays.
Yeah.
So you put the magnetic field in for just a little bit of time and then turn it off.
Yeah. So so the magnetic field's there all the time.
All the time.
And then you stick the pulse in for that 5 microseconds or whatever we set. So you pulse in, they all flip, and then they
What is that pulse? What is the current?
It's just a radio frequency magnetic pulse, yeah.
And that causes the spin to flip.
And that causes it to flip. Yeah.
What's the need of the magnetic field?
So the magnetic field allows you to, you have a ground state then.
Oh right, it separates them all.
Exactly, yeah. So it's Zeeman split.
Oh right, okay, yeah, makes sense now.
Yeah.
I just didn't. All these research papers, NMR, they didn't actually explain what NMR does.
They don't, because if you do it properly, it's incredibly complicated.
I can imagine.
So like, there are bits where, like, I can hand wave it up to there.
Yeah.
But then you go, and I can say Zeeman splitting.
But then why only protons? Is it?
It's to do with the precessional frequency and what the magnet's tuned for and stuff. But it's mad.
A lot of different parameters.
There are.
And we see it. There's just so many fancy words, and you just think, what does this actually mean?
Exactly. The best thing to read, actually, I found when I didn't do any NMR in my PhD at all, so I only kind of started doing NMR when I got this job. So I didn't do any NMR at all 3 years ago. I had no idea what to do. And the easiest way to learn this sort of stuff is to read PhD theses, because the papers and the books are written for people that know exactly what everything is, which nobody does. Whereas the PhD thesis is a little bit easier to grasp.
Yeah.
And most of the ones from Leeds are available, actually. So if you just type NMR and PhD thesis, you should be able to find some PDFs that explain much better than I can what actually happens. So the only other difference, I guess, is worth explaining is why you don't get a spectrum like that. So you might have seen NMR spectra before. So that's a way of fingerprinting molecules. That's what NMR is mostly used for. It's not usually used. The BIS can't do that. But the way that works is that you have all your spins pointing upwards or whatever with the magnetic field, and they all process at a different frequency, slightly different from the Moore frequency, so the natural frequency of protons, due to where they are in the structure. So if they're in something where they're near another proton, then they'll be in a different environment than something that's on the end of a polymer or something. And it means that they process in slightly different places. And so what you do is you send in a 90-degree pulse to bring everything into the measurement plane, if you like, and then you record a signal called a free induction decay, and then do a Fourier transform of that, and then you get these peaks.
That's what the original lab script was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I read through that, and then the first time we met him, he says, I hope you didn't read the lab script, because we're not doing it.
No.
We're doing
fast field cycling.
Fast field cycling.
Yeah, basically it used to be on that machine, and that machine is a fixed frequency, so
right.
That machine is only 20 megahertz, whereas this one can do anywhere between 10 and 10 kilohertz.
So that frequency, is that the frequency of the pulse that's hitting the thing?
That's the frequency of the magnetic field itself.
Oh, the magnetic field.
So that magnet sits at 400 megahertz the entire time. This one can go anywhere between 10 megahertz and 0.1 megahertz, depending on what current you put through the coil.
Okay, why would changing the magnetic field affect the result?
It changes the frequency at which the protons process, and it also it allows you to do relaxation measurements, which means that it allows you to probe different timescales, basically. So a lower processional frequency will probe bigger stuff, and so you're more likely to see resonances with bigger things moving, and so you get steps in different places basically.
Okay, so is this just going to average all the different scalings together?
Yeah. So if you have a bunch of different things in your sample, you'll get an averaged mess of things, which will give you one decay, which is what that is, sort of.
Right.
Experiment is done.
Okay.
The data, and this computer's not networked, so you have to USB stick it off. If you don't have a USB stick, then I can find one when you've done a bunch of stuff. So if you go to data and then folder, so there's two files, one that's 7 megabytes, one that's 2 kilobytes. The one with 2 kilobytes is
what you need.
Yeah. It's just got the magnetic field in megahertz, T1 in seconds, R1 in hertz, I guess. Percentage error, and then the plus and minus error in R1. And the other file has every single other thing that we did today.
Okay. Right.
So you only need the small files, which is good. That's it.
Okay, with that data, what we're supposed to do, make an average or just plot it?
I think he'll talk to you
about
what you're supposed to be doing with the data, yeah.
Okay, could you just show us then how to change the temperature and redo the experiment?
Yep. So to change the temperature, you right click on...
Oh yeah, you said yeah.
Yeah. And so now we're going to change that to 40.
Yeah.
It will go. I'd give it 5 minutes, and if that says 40, that doesn't necessarily mean the sample's at 40. It just means
so
that...
give it a while for it to heat up.
Yeah, basically it heats, there's a thermocouple at the bottom of where the sample sits. So if it's measuring 40 there, it means that plate is 40, but the sample will take a bit of time to heat up.
And then once that hits 40, do we need to make a new file name or just...
Yeah, so if you go to main parameters, and then file name, change that to 40, like that. And then start again from the beginning. What I'd say is do the NP to get the observe offset right, and then skip the angle thing, keep 5 microseconds for that, it's fine, and then go straight to the NPS.
So do the NP, sorry?
Yeah. So remember when we what we did right at the beginning, where you get a single decay with the imaginary and the real part.
Okay, right. And then what do we do from that?
So that bit down to there. So do that. Skip this bit, and then do that bit.
Okay, right.
And then the dispersion profile is a bit.
So we've got to find a new T1 for the new temperature.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Otherwise, why measure different temperature? Yeah.
Exactly. Do you want to try that, and then I can pop back?
Yeah, we'll
half
try
an hour
it.
or so.
Yeah.
It's the best thing is for you guys to play with it, because then you'll.
Then we'll
go,
remember.
Oh, yeah, why does that do that? Why is it look weird? And then I can come back and explain.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Okay.